Now I'm going to walk you through the process of adding a user interface stack to your application. User interface stacks are going to be anything that you display to the user. That's going to have an interface that the user is going to interact with in order to execute code in your application and perform some sort of task. So like any stack file or asset that's going to go in your app, you're going to put it in the app folder. And there's the UI folder, which we talked about earlier, where you should put all your user interface stacks. Because Levure is going to load these stacks in a special way in the IDE. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder. All user interface stacks go in a subfolder inside of the UI folder. I'm going to create one called main window, and then I'm going to go into the IDE, and I'm going to create a new stack. I'm just going to give it a name, main window. And I'm going to add a button to it. And it's going to be a friendly button. So it's going to say hello. Okay. So now I've got a very simple stack. I have a button. I click on the button. It says hello. I'm now going to save this stack inside of the app UI main window folder. Okay. And so that's it. I've now added a user interface stack to Levure. It's very simple, but Levure will now load this it'll make this user interface stack available to the application when the app launches. Levure doesn't actually load the stack into memory, but it makes it available so that if you try to open it, if I were to execute go stack main window in my code, Levure would know where to find that stack and would open it. So that's step one, and a Levure application will work just fine if you design a stack like this. Now, if we want to take this a step further and we want to now move this code, the code for the stack, out into behaviors, out into these script-only stacks so that the code is in a text file, well, then we have to do a little more work. Luckily, in LiveCode 8.1.5, this has become a lot easier. If I double-click on this mouse button, I can, if we go to a behaviors tab, right here in the behaviors tab, there's actually a feature now when you click on this little target icon where you can create a behavior from a script-only stack. And I can create that behavior using the existing script of the control, or I could create an empty script. Now, when I'm adding behaviors for these user interface stacks, I usually like to attach the behavior to the card or the stack, and then the actual buttons will call functions within that card. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the card inspector, and I'm going to create a new script-only stack behavior. I'm going to call this main window card behavior. Now this is going to be the name of this script-only stack in memory. Click OK. And I'm going to save it. Now, see, we're in the app UI main window folder. I'm going to create a behaviors folder. I like to organize behaviors into a folder. I'm going to accept the default name. And what just happened is LiveCode created a script-only stack, and you can see the script is open in the background here. It assigned that stack as the behavior of the card. And it also, if we open the stack inspector, you'll see that it added the script-only stack file name as a stack file of the main window stack. And what that means is when you open this main window stack, LiveCode doesn't know where to find stack main window card behavior. If it hasn't already been opened up by the engine, LiveCode won't know where to find it. So by adding a reference to the stack files property, it tells the engine where to go out and find the my main window card behavior stack. So that was all automated for us. Okay, so let's go back to, we are now on the card, the behavior that is being used as the card script. So I'm going to write a command called UI clicked button, and I'm going to say answer hi there. Ooh, there we are. Okay, and then I'm going to save it, because when you're working with script-only stacks, you usually don't have it open, so you're not going to like click on the stack and use the file save, the normal file save button. So when you're editing a script only stack, you'll use the file save menu from the script editor. So that's now been saved. And what I'm going to do is, because this button is always going to be stored in the binary LiveCode file, I'm going to keep a minimal amount of code here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the UI clicked button command from the button, and these 3 lines of code are going to be stored in the binary stack. If I was using a version control system, I wouldn't be able to see exactly what was changed if I ever came back in later and changed this script. Like if I decided that I wanted to make sure that only the left button triggered this command, you know, that change, I wouldn't get the version control system wouldn't show me exactly what changed. But that's not a big deal because that code's not going to change very often. So now what I've done is nothing, because I spelled a variable incorrectly. There we are. Hi there. So when I click on that button, it says hi there. But what I have on disk now is a binary stack that has the UI elements, but then I have a text file that has all the logic. And I would go and I'd build out my logic within this this text file here, and then the user interface would call into that behavior.